Hey everybody, welcome back to Elevator Pitch. My name is Joe Ennis, and this week I am talking to Ryan Crozier. Ryan is the founder of Agency Boon, which is a company that takes the Storybrand approach to website design and all things marketing. Ryan speaks a lot in this episode about different ways that people are kind of flooded with marketing tools. And he explains how you can find the tools that are right for you. What kind of marketing should you be doing? Should it be podcasts, something like what I'm doing? Should it be more paid ads or, good SEO and website design? Ryan talks a lot about this and the best ways that he's been able to find, different areas for different stuff. I really enjoyed this episode. Ryan is brilliant and I have learned a lot from him. So please check out Agency Boon if you want to work with him. All the links are in the description below, and enjoy the episode. Hey everybody, welcome back to Elevator Pitch. My name is Joe Ennis, and today I am talking to Ryan Crozier. Ryan, thanks for being here, man.
Hey, thanks for inviting me. It's an honor to be joining you today.
I'm excited. Ryan and I have talked to each other on LinkedIn for a while, but I haven't actually been able to sit down and talk with him till now. So I'm very excited, Ryan. But tell us a little bit about who you are, what you're up to, as well as a little bit about Agency Boon.
Yeah. So I am originally from Indiana, but I moved to Romania in Eastern Europe about 9 years ago now. Started coming over here on mission trips when I was a kid, fell in love with the country and knew that I wanted to live here one day. And about 9 years ago, got to make that a reality. My wife and I moved here. Our son was born here. In some ways, I'm a missionary. In some ways, a business guy. Sometimes people call me a do-gooder. Just trying to have a positive impact in the world and specifically Romania. And right now, I'm really privileged to have been able to lead a digital marketing agency called Agency Boon for the last about 7 years now. Started it here in Romania as a way to fund our nonprofit work. We got involved in the area of prevention of human trafficking some years ago, started a nonprofit, and like many nonprofits, struggled to find the financing. And so, well, what do I need to do? I need to turn on my entrepreneurial mindset and start a business. And so that's really the roots of Agency Boon, and love what I get to do. Have a wonderful team here in Romania, and also get to be involved in a nonprofit side as well.
That's awesome. I mean, that's some serious stuff, but it sounds like you're, having a great time doing it. And,
I am.
I
Yep.
assume, my quick question, I assume Romania is beautiful. I've never been.
It
Is
is.
there like something like food wise that they like specialize in?
There's amazing food. The country's beautiful. The people are great. Food wise, so there's one of my favorites is it's the simplest thing. It's called mici. Mitite. Mici means little ones, and
Okay.
basically it's like little sausage links in a way. They're kind of minced meat, and they don't taste the equivalent, but culturally like the equivalent of like a hot dog in America. They're
Okay.
just kind of that thing you want to grill out with.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
always there. And yet it's my favorite. So I've loved it since I was a kid. And
That sounds
now
amazing.
my son, who just turned 8, he likes meats now too. And it
That's
makes
a great
dad
sign.
proud.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me, as Agency Boon, as a marketing agency, we're going to focus on that at first for now. What are you guys doing in the marketing world, especially, and then how is it? My second follow-up question to that, like, again, specifically, what do you guys specialize in, as well as, is there anything different about your agency because of where you're located?
Yeah.
Does that have any impact on how you work with people maybe internationally, or do you just focus on people in Romania, other businesses in Romania?
That's a great question. So for us, we primarily focus on websites and then the marketing complementing that website. And so more and more getting into things like sales funnels and lead generation, that kind of stuff, of course. But our bread and butter has always been WordPress websites. We are now doing quite a few Shopify websites as well. Those are the bulk of our business. And then things like paid ads on top of that, maybe SEO, a little bit of content marketing strategy, that kind of stuff. Our clients are primarily in the United States. So Romania is often called the outsourcing valley of Europe.
Okay.
Most every Fortune 500 company has some resources or people, as I like to say, based in Romania. And it is where a lot of the work is done. I say, the world was kind of, it's still obviously India is a major player, but Eastern Europe in the IT scene is becoming bigger and bigger.
Hmm.
And so Romania is a hub for that type of talent. The IT and C sector is booming here. And so we try to bring some of that same talent that these larger companies have and allow smaller and medium-sized businesses to access that talent as well. And so we do beautiful websites that are designed to convert and utilizing the Storybrand framework. We've been able to partner with Donald Miller and the team at Storybrand for years now, and I got to become a guide last year. And so we work with small, medium-sized businesses that need a killer new website with clear messaging. And I think one of our uniques is just the quality of our design. A lot of foreign teams are good at development, but not necessarily the design. And so we work really well serving those types of clients.
That's awesome. That's great. Few follow-up questions to that. Number one, do you mind explaining to people who aren't really, aware or aren't really familiar is the word I'm looking for with Storybrand, kind of the overall process of what that kind of looks like with a website as opposed to, just making a website?
Yeah, yep. So Storybrand started, I would say at least 5 years ago now, maybe a little bit more, as a marketing workshop. You could go down to Tennessee and learn. The big premise is about clarifying your message. That oftentimes we as business owners, entrepreneurs, we struggle to talk about ourselves, even like I just did. And when we do, it's all about us. I've been in business this long. We do this. We use insider terminology. And a customer doesn't understand that, frankly, doesn't care oftentimes. I don't care, yes, it can build a little bit of trust that you've been around, but whether you've been in business 10 years or 20 years doesn't really matter to me. I want the service. I want what I need. So Storybrand came up with it, and Donald Miller and the team at Storybrand. Donald Miller's a best-selling author, wrote a lot of great books, and then wrote Storybrand. And it's very popular in the marketing world right now. It's a bestseller out there, and it's all about simplifying, clarifying your message. So kind of different points, and they call it a brand script. Everything we know story is where it's at. And this is a story of how to tell a story about your business in a way that positions it in solving a problem your customer has. And so there's very specific talking points that's different for every business. But what Storybrand guides do is help people clarify their message and then take that message and put it on a website in a specific way and a specific layout that helps design to convert. Because oftentimes we find in current websites, they're overloaded with information, way more than people want. We know people are skimming. If you ever have implemented a heat map onto a website, it's depressing because you're like, oh, only 30% of people even, go down past the second section.
Right.
And so what we want to do is put the most important things towards the top in a clear way, and the way your eyes move. There's a lot of elements to it. And so Storybrand and now Business Made Simple have really brought, I would say, great business practices, including marketing practices, and simplified them in a way that the average business owner gets and is desperately hungry for. Because Joe, you probably know it as well as I do. The world of marketing it's similar to the used car salesman.
Yeah,
reputation.
it's brutal.
It is. And there's a lot of people that know marketing, and there's a lot of people that have taken a lot of money and delivered very little results. And so I think most entrepreneurs and business people just kind of say, I don't know marketing. I know marketing people. We hire them. They handle it. And so what Storybrand did, and they're not going to read marketing books, but Storybrand did was gave it a book that any entrepreneur business person can read and go, I get this. It's simple enough that I do want that. And then not only can I tell my story and brand script for my audience, but I now have a story and brand script for my team and internally. And with the demand on talent as the way it is right now, there's a massive need to make sure people are bought into a clarified vision and understand how you're helping them win as an employer.
I dig that. I love that. Ryan, a follow-up question to that. and kind of going back a little bit to what we were just talking about, are there anything specifically that you see, whether it's because, the people you're able to work with, or maybe the talent that you've been able to get from somewhere like Romania, things that you've learned maybe over the last year or so, or even since you've started, that a lot of businesses in the U.S., website-wise or whatever it is, marketing-wise, aren't taking full advantage of that they potentially could? Things that you've just seen as you've been able to work with some of these better teams that maybe you could share?
Yeah, it's tough, Joe, because so many people, there's so many different tactics, right? I mean, even a podcast, that's over the last few years, blogging. I say I started blogging when blogging was cool the first time.
Yeah.
And then, it had its ups and downs.
Well, the episode that is airing right before this one was with a blogging nice. Marketing team. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. There's so many different tactics you can do. I think at the end of the day, it's hard to prescribe a tactic without really diagnosing and understanding the strengths, the financial investments. So SEO, it's this holy grail people don't really get. I've been telling people more and more, yes, it's important. It's not that we don't want to completely ignore it. We need to talk about it and play there. But let's really look at the analytics and let's look at the rankings and keyword searches. And so you can invest tens of thousands of dollars over the coming years in building backlinks and posts, and you start to rank organically. We'll get you to number 3. Let's shoot for that on the first page. Well, you're only going to get 20% of those searches are going to come down to you on number 3. I mean, it's around there. It's mind-boggling. So what we need to do is really assess a business, understand what their needs are and what their unique strengths are. What can they bring? I mean, I love talking to business owners and entrepreneurs and encouraging them to do video when they feel comfortable with it. But you and I know the last thing we need is an entrepreneur or business person that is not good on video.
Yes, correct.
And is doing a ton of videos, and they could spend a ton of time on it, and they're not thinking, what does the consumer actually want? It does go back to that at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really want to listen to a podcast from a plumber. I just need to know. And so for a plumber I'm talking to right now, it's paid ads.
Yep.
It's paid ads and then some email marketing, because there's ongoing, and retention of referrals is a massive one in the service industry like that. So we need to really think about it for them and diagnose or make recommendations from there. But oftentimes I think people feel overwhelmed and flooded with options of tactics they should be doing, is what they're told. And very few times I try to do what's best for people in their business. I mean, I honestly do. And I turn down business quite a bit because of that. And I go, we're not the right fit. You really need, I refer business like crazy. And we're slowly, so before we start offering something, I'm sure that we're going to deliver with excellence.
Yeah.
And that's why we've really niched into story branded websites in WordPress and Shopify. That's our bread and butter. And then, like I said, the peripherals around that is obviously maintaining the websites, but also how do we get you more traffic and how do we watch it to help it convert more? Because a lot of people have some dud websites out there.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to make it look pretty, and that's important. The visual design is important. The words on the website are vital, but then we also need to make sure those are converting and stay involved to iterate and bring new value to that website. It's not just a build it and forget about it for 5 years like it was in the previous decade.
Yeah, I love that. And I love what you said about, a lot of people do get very overwhelmed with the different potential ways that they could approach marketing and approach what their team is doing. And just like you, I was going to say, I've turned down many people who come to me and they're like, well, I want to do a podcast. And I'm just like, yeah, you do. And I would love to help you because, it benefits me obviously, but this is just not something that you need right now. You need all of these other things first. And I 100% agree with you. It is important that a lot of these businesses step back and don't just pick something either because it's cool or they've seen someone else do it, but they pick something based off of what they need after reviewing, the data and the analytics and and then maybe even looking at other businesses similar to theirs who have done similar things.
Right.
But yeah, I love that. So Ryan, another question that we always ask is why is, and obviously I'm going to be on your side with your answer here, and I already know it, but why is marketing so important, especially nowadays? We ask people, why is their business and what they do important? Luckily, you're in the marketing space, so I'm going to agree with it. But, you know,
Yeah, I, honestly, I've struggled with this myself in some ways. And I'll say it this way. I moved to Romania to have an impact and do good in the world. And here I am spending most of my time leading a digital marketing agency, of which, okay. But what I've really realized I've come to is marketing at the end of the day is about people and connecting with people and adding value to the people that you're serving. And marketing is a way is how to connect with them, how to reach them, and how to communicate in a way that they understand and that they're interested in potentially learning more or doing business with you. And I just believe in the power of business. I'm a guy that started a nonprofit, didn't have financing, so I had to do a business.
mm,
And over the years, I mean, that's my story. And over the years, I realized, wait, business in and of itself is an incredible force for good. And it in and of itself does good. It's not just, it makes money so it can do good. Businesses do good, and businesses have the potential to be a blessing to all sorts of people, from the customers that you serve to your employees. And then the ripple effect of that, we know, I mean, when a business doesn't do good, it devastates communities when big businesses fail, right? We all know across the US, the factory used to be there, or the mine it devastates communities. And so in the same way, when a business does good, it brings blessings to communities. So I have started to realize and learn that, and I'm thick-headed, so it's taken me a while, but I'm realizing that, and I go, man, when we're helping these small, medium businesses grow and connect with customers and relieving them of that pressure of, because I think a lot of them they don't know, and like, is my marketing good? And every other day they're getting an email or a message from a marketer saying your marketing's bad.
yeah.
And they find one little specific thing, they're like,
That happens to me all the time. Even like
Exactly.
they'll tell me all the time. They'll be like, "Hey, I found one misspelling on your website," and I'll be like, "Okay, thanks."
You want a whole new website from us? Hire
Yeah,
us.
exactly. Just hire us and we'll change it.
Title tag here.
Yep.
Whoever built your website.
I was like, all right.
And it's like, yeah, there's it's easy to throw the stones, right? So, what they really need is a trusted marketing advisor, somebody to walk with them. And I think that's one of the biggest pieces with marketing. I think marketing is obviously important. I think people need an advisor that can help and make the right recommendations, referrals, or even deliver the service if possible. But I think one of our strongest benefits is the fact that we say no, and not just, oh, we won't do that work. No, this is a better place for you. This is what you really need. And missed opportunity from a revenue perspective. But what we did is we won the client's heart because we were honest with them. And that's the relationship I want to have with our partners.
I love it. Ryan, in closing here, a few final questions. Number one, are there any tips that you could give business owners right now that maybe they don't have a massive budget for marketing? They're a very small business. People like me, I mean, I do my own marketing, but I don't have like a ton of employees and stuff. Are there little tips that you could give to those people that can improve their marketing in a matter of a day or so?
Yeah. I think the old style of marketing, it was a bit more of a shotgun approach or machine gun, right? We tried all these different things. At the end of the day, marketing I didn't study this in school. I have a pastoral degree. Okay. So I didn't study this, but in my perception, marketing and sales, well, if a business is struggling or small, wanting to get started, it needs to be a little more focused on sales and let the marketing be the value add of how do we get the sale. And so what I tell businesses, I say, find either referral partners or your ideal customers and go after them. So for instance, one of the things we did is we made a list of 10 companies that we really, really, really wanted to work with. And then I did research on them. I found out about who to talk to, and we sent them 4 or 5 pieces of mail over and like gifts, like quality things, literally handmade stuff. Like it was and they were large companies. And I think 3 or 4 of them said, I knew I had to talk to you at this point.
That's great.
Like go after them. And I think in the marketing world, they call it account-based marketing in the enterprise level. Like pick who you want and go after them. And the other thing for smaller businesses, niche, and work your way out. Don't feel that it's limiting. Again, it allows you to take a sniper shot. That's what we should be doing, sniper shots in this context, because it is so easy to miss the rest. And if you don't have a small budget, I'd rather you literally snail mail somebody something and then follow up with them on the LinkedIn post. And make sure there's value, and it's all about value. And the same with, lead generating PDFs, Storybrand and others are big on this. Sometimes it's useful, but oftentimes people really actually don't find that much value in a 5-page PDF. Sometimes. Some people do. It depends on what they're looking for. But again, I don't want to download a PDF from a plumber.
Right.
What I want is a plumber that's going to come in 24 hours or sooner and solve the problem. So I'm looking for knowledge. I'm looking for speed and reputation, trust, reviews. The other big thing, Joe, is reviews. That comes to my mind is quality reviews. One of the things I've learned from Storybrand, a great tip, help write the review for people by interviewing them. If you're small and you have the time, actually interview people like you're doing with me, but do that with your customers and sort of put the words in their mouth, or draw the words out by asking the right questions. And you mentioned this, could you expand on that a little bit? And then boom, they said that, and piece it together. And then you could even draft it for them. And using, hey, before you met me, this is what it was. After, how did it feel? Things that are actually more customer centric and focused on what the customer's feeling. Like mentioning key things like it was on time, it was quality, that kind of thing. So reviews, the sniper shots over a shotgun approach, and honestly, personal brand, I'm learning. Again, I've downplayed personal brand for years, maybe I think out of a false humility. I'm not going to have a personal brand.
Yeah.
And Joe, I'm realizing just how important it is, because that's really what it all is. And that's the root of business. If we think back prior to internet, it was, oh, I know Joe and Joe does that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think about Joe's business. I don't want to follow your Facebook page, really, as far as your business page. I want to follow you. Yep. That is higher value in my mind than following your page. And what we see is that's just so true in any of the social network platforms, any Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can have pages, but they're not showing up in people's feeds because Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn are feeding people what people actually want. And what we realize is anything that's not organic, they're not actually really wanting. And so it's good to have. So I downplay the value unless you're going to really go all in and be great at social and invest heavy paid behind that social. I'm advising small, medium-sized businesses now for mostly, again, there's some uniques, but mostly I say, I think your social media pages are just hey, we're still alive. Your Facebook pages like once a week. And that's, I know, crazy in the marketing world. But again, a plumber, I just want to know, are you still a business when I check your Facebook page? I am not looking to follow you, or I will follow you after I've used you so that I can remember you're the company I used.
I love
because
that.
I'm going to maybe go to Facebook and type in plumber and you're going to be the one that shows up. So that would be my tips. And I know I went too long, but those would be a couple thoughts of mine.
No, man, you didn't go too long at all. That's what we were looking for. You're here to give us that information. I love it. Thank you. So Ryan, in closing, I wanted you to be able to, kind of plug Agency Boon as well as Good Bureau a little bit, if you'd like to talk about that. Just real quick, please let us know what a little bit more about what you're involved with, how people can get connected if they want. If there's people listening that would love to help you out, as you're with your mission, let us know how we can do that.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, Behind Agency Boon is a nonprofit called Good Bureau, where we invest in local Romanian leaders that are entrepreneurial and are trying to do good in society. And so, and it really, Joe, it comes out of my background, my own roots. It's the program and the organization I wish I had to come alongside me when I was emerging entrepreneur, kind of getting started and going, hey, that's good. You're doing good. Keep going. Care about your work, but also care about you. You're important too. It's not just the work, because a lot of us entrepreneurs sacrifice ourselves for our work, and it's easy to find our identity there. And so what we do at Good Bureau is come alongside these leaders so that we can affect change in Romania. It's a phenomenal country, coming out of, just over 30 years now, coming out of communism. And so it's rapidly changing, it's rapidly growing, but that's because of strong Romanian leaders. And as an American that moved here, it's not about me and what I can do in Romania. It's about how can I invest in empowering and equipping local leaders. And so that's what Good Bureau does. We help these leaders, we help businesses, nonprofits, and really it's an overflow of our hearts and our desire as a team. And then we do Agency Boon. It funds that. We give over 10% of our profits every year to charity here through Good Bureau. And so each and every one of our customers, when they are investing in a website or marketing services, they're having an impact locally in society. And we run a 1-year accelerator program as part of Good Bureau, where we pick 10 leaders every year, invest heavily into them, build a relationship. And our goal is over 20, 30 years to have 200, 300 leaders across the country connected to each other in community, but also connected to us, so we can encourage ongoing and support them. And really, I say we're kind of like a broker. We just, for social good, we try to help do good in society, and that means by helping leaders.
That's awesome. I love that. That's really cool. I didn't know that about Good Bureau, but I'm into that. That's pretty cool. And, listeners, as always, all of the links to everything that Ryan is involved with are in the description of this episode. Please go check him out. Go check out Agency Boon. Go check out Good Bureau. See if there's anything you can do to get involved. Maybe work with Ryan and his team. Ryan, thank you again for coming on today, man. It was so much fun. I learned a lot. And I definitely know that a lot of listeners will learn a lot from this.
Thank you, Joe. It's an honor to join you guys, and appreciate the opportunity, and love what you're doing. And you have a great reputation and the way you serve people. And I think this is just another outlet for that, which is awesome.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Hey, I want to thank Ryan one more time for coming on. It was an awesome episode. I really learned a lot. Remember, if you want to work with Ryan, check out the links in the description of this episode. If you're listening to this audio version, please subscribe. If you're on YouTube, click the button right above my head. There's also episodes right here you can watch. Thanks again for listening.